A lot better.
Because last time we saw you were looking bright red. It's calmed down a bit this week.
Oh shit! Yeah, of course.
Well, it's kind of a new. Yeah, it's red again, but it's not. It's just
as red.
The thing is, I go out for like 4 hours, and
Wow.
even though the sun's not very strong, 4 hours is a lot of sunshine. So
yeah.
Do you know? I mean, this is maybe call me crazy, but have you heard of this thing called sun cream? There's this stuff. I haven't tried it, but I have heard of it. Hi, Bina. I have heard of it where it's like it's just like a cream, but not like cream that you eat. It's like a creamy like texture and color, I think.
Do you whip it or spray it on?
Actual I think you pour it onto yourself or onto an applicator that you then use to put it on yourself, or maybe it's like an aerosol kind of texture. But that I think you must put it on quite thick, and then it dries like paint, or like whitewash, and it's supposedly. It does something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a sunologist.
Sounds like magic, certainly.
Interferes somehow with the path of the rays of the sun.
Yeah, discombobulates the sun, I've heard.
It does. Yeah. Well, because it makes your skin so much paler to start with, it means that when the sun starts to hit you, it just slowly brings you back up to your usual skin tone.
That's the problem. I've been putting on try and re-whiten myself. It's like when it's cloudy, you normally think, oh, I don't need sun cream, but
that is true actually. Like I definitely go out and I think, well, if I can't see the sun, it can't see me, right? Like that's how the sun works.
Absolutely.
So, Bina, Robert, you've missed the Michael. This Michael's been out getting pissed on. This Michael has been toasted like a marshmallow. How are you both?
Oh, you mean it was raining, right?
Yeah, very much so.
He gets it straight away.
Yeah.
Is there a memo I missed? Michael was like, oh, apart from getting like lightly pissed on, it's been a nice day. I was like, you've been pissed on? Is that, I mean, do you have like a number that like
I'll put you in touch.
You're a good friend. Tina, how are you, my sweet?
Good. Al and I have been out for a walk.
Oh, yeah, Alan's back.
Yes. He's currently hiding in the cupboard, doing something to his bike, which is probably now picking up on the audio.
There's a sort of like, what's he doing to it? Are we allowed to ask? Or is that between a man and his bicycle?
I don't know. Alan? He's checking that the sensors are still aligned on the wheel.
That's what they all say.
Technical.
Hi, Valerie.
Hey.
Hi, how are you guys?
Pretty good. How are you, sweetness?
Good. I'm good,
Hi,
thanks.
Katie.
What have you been up to, Valerie?
I went to this independent bookshop that's fairly new in Edinburgh and has opened to the public again earlier. So it's open 9 till 9, which is good news for us.
That's really good.
And it's one of those bookshops that I've only seen in films where it's like 4 walls of books and ladders that go up as well. And it makes me think of Beauty and the Beast, where she's going about the ladders. And I was like, am I allowed to go up a ladder? I spent ages in there, and it was so good. And the children's section, I was in there for ages as well because, like you, Frankie, I'm needing to buy some books for my friend's children at the moment. And I was like, wow, I'm going to buy some of these for myself. They look so good. So that is my highlight today. Mm-hmm.
That is excellent. God, I love a book ladder.
Yes.
Are they the ones that kind of go up like that, or is it? No, it's a roof ladder. Like,
I mean, it's pretty similar, yeah, and it's on wheels. So
I was going to say, is it on the like rail? So it's sort of built into the bookcase. That's like
You can slide
dream
along.
house, like dream house territory right there.
Yeah.
David Harbour has one of those, and it makes him more attractive to me.
Yeah.
Alan just walked in for that. We're talking about like library bookshelf ladders as a feature of a dream house.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a feature of a dream partner.
Can you imagine having a pantry with that kind of ladder in it? Like, that'd be so wonderful to cook in.
Yes, I can. I spend a lot of time imagining just that.
I'm going to be dreaming about that from now on.
You know what I really look for in a man? Ladders.
Gotta, distinguish them from the other men somehow.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Just something really easy to climb, I mean, someone really easy to climb.
What do you like about him? Well,
Oh, look at Michael. Michael's got
he's
ladders.
got something in his kitchen that's about this long and it's really easy to climb. Hi, Michael. We have another Michael.
impressive ladder show.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, you actually have a ladder.
Yeah, I've been trying to restore our cornicing. So I've been up this ladder for about an hour today, just kind of hacking off all the extra paint. When they kind of put just too much paint and you don't see the details anymore. So I've just been sort of using a crafting knife to take it off. It's quite fun. So yeah, it's really got the flowers. It's an old Victorian kind of very beautiful flower arrangement. It's not very big, but then before some workman had just covered it in paint, so it was just flat. But once I knocked the paint off, it's like this really beautiful detailed flower, I suppose. I don't know if you can see it.
Like in the
Oh, yeah,
plaster.
show us.
Yeah, can we see? We will start doing poetry imminently.
Yeah.
But first I must
You can't
see
really
it.
see it. So there.
Aha.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I can't see that.
Yeah, I'm afraid. Maybe I can show you a picture.
If you fancied posting a picture on
I'll post a picture of it.
on Storytime, that would be wonderful. I'd love to see your cornicing. If that's not a little over familiar.
No, I mean, I show my chorus.
Michael, I saw you roll your eyes at me, you bastard. How dare you? This is a judgment-free zone. Right, okay, now, listen. Cornicing chat aside for a second. Let's think about poetry. So I know that Cornice Michael has something, Kitty has something, M has something, and Bina has potentially more than one thing. Does anybody else have... Michael, of course, Michael. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to contribute to transportation themed? Or shall we get cracking?
I have yet another poem that requires a Scottish accent and therefore needs someone else to read it.
Oh, if only we had someone here with a beautiful Scottish accent who was incredibly good at reading poetry.
I know, right?
It seems like we have multiple people here. Wow.
Yeah, It's
Toss a coin.
what pick your. I was going to say pick your flavor, but then see if any of the flavors are interested in reading poetry. If any flavor of Scottish is interested in reading some poetry,
I volunteer as tribute.
I'll just put it in the chat, and then
chat, my darling.
And then anyone with a Scottish accent can take a stab at it.
Or can we hear other people's Scottish accents?
Battle of the Scottish accents. Yeah, Valerie, Kitty, and Michael will do an absolutely beautiful job of anything, I believe. Right.
Can we describe their accents like flavors afterwards?
Oh my god, yes.
If they're comfortable with that, of course.
Yeah, if anyone would like to have their accent and or voice described as flavors, shout up, because that sounds like a fun game. The after chat.
Especially in the context of poetry reading.
Yeah, right? Be like that bit is it in Brideshead Revisited, where they get very drunk and taste a load of wines and describe all of the wines, and as they get more and more drunk, the descriptions of the wines get more and more exuberant, and is that, I don't know, maybe is that a
sounds like an amazing evening.
It does sound like a good evening.
Yeah, that just sounds like something I've done once.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, that does sound really, except the descriptions, but the wine tasting and the getting slowly more out of it is pretty much what happened the day Alan and I got together on a cycling wine tour.
Oh my god!
And there are increasingly awful photos from each consecutive vineyard that Jilly, our friend who was also there at the time, we were with our friends Jilly and Heather, gave us in a book as our wedding present.
I would love to see a picture from that occasion if you would ever be interested and comfortable in sharing.
It can be bonus post-recording content. Subscribers only.
Yeah.
Post-recording content. Remind me at the end.
Okay, excellent. Katie's here. Hi, Katie. Hi, Katie. Hi, Nick. Hey, sweeties. Right, Katie.
Oh, good. Now we can have story time.
I did tell Frankie I would be late.
Yeah, I have a message here, and I've just seen that you have one about trains and one about roadsides. Perfect. It's going to be a good night. Okay, so, right. Okay, imagine that I have a gavel and a thing that you bang the gavel on. Is the gavel the hammer, or is the gavel the thing that you bang with the hammer? Fuck.
Gavel is the hammer.
Bang, bang, bang. I hereby bring this edition of Poetry Time to order. Let's have some poetry all up in this time. So, theme is transportation, and I think let's kick off with Michael Cox. How would you feel about people interested in doing yours?
Of course. So there's a little bit of a backstory here. It's what I hope is a cute little love story, but it's using the poem's called Underground Love, and it's using as many London Underground stations as I could squeeze in, basically. Some of them work quite well, some of them are a bit crowbarred, but we'll see. So I'm going to put them in the chat, and then if you can play along at home, you can keep up with them. So paste, send. Okay, there we go. Right, okay, let's get it up. Okay, Underground Love, here we go. It was getting late, and I'd been stood there waiting for too long for my date to show. Feet sore, didn't want to stand more, so they became someone I used to know. Cutting my loss, didn't want to Brent Cross, I glanced across, and that's when I saw her drop it. She bent down to her knees, then her toes, looking embarrassed before she rose, as she couldn't lift it from that pose. On instinct, I went to help her turn it over. The heavy scooter, which must have weighed more than an oak would have, finally shifted, and she lifted her face, revealing such beautiful Bethnal green eyes, and a wonderful hairstyle, far nicer than my barber can ever make mine. I complimented her barnet and asked how she kept it in her helmet. She giggled, the kind of laugh that can make the South and North halt just for a second. After saying which way I was going, the thing I thought would be most reassuring. She smiled and said she's going that way too. Ting. I introduced myself. Colin Dale, pleased to meet you. I'm Victoria, she blushed. Pleased to meet you too. We laughed and joked so much in that short walk, more than I'd ever laughed with anyone after such small talk. Words rushing through my head. When we got to my tube stop, I said, I'm not a rich man and don't live on a good street, but if you like me, I'd love to re-meet. Re-meet, she asked. Is that what you meant to say? My turn to blush. From this little crush, I said, I'd love to see you another day. So that was our meet cute, sweeter than any baker's treat, and started off this circle loop of sleep, love life, repeat.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
Oh my
That was amazing.
Wow.
Michael, can I ask, did you write poetry before poetry time was a thing?
Not at all, no.
That is mentile. That is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Petition for an entire book just of Michael's poems.
Yes, seconded.
Yes, please.
Absolutely.
Right, petition carried. Bang, 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 bang. I need a gavel.
Someone mail Frankie a gavel.
Mail me a gavel. Storytime gavel. Oh no, that would be. I feel like that would be a very bad idea. Okay.
You could just get a glass and do the ting, ting, ting.
Ooh.
Perfect.
That works.
Okay. So how about this? How about if we do Bina, might you have one that would go next?
Yeah, I can do a wholesome A.A. Milne poem
That would
about
be lovely.
toy trains.
And then potentially after Bina, Kitty.
Katie or Kitty?
Kitty. Kitty is reconnecting to audio. One moment, and I will consult them to see if they would be happy with post Bina. Kitty, are you with us?
What was the question? Hello, I had to change from my phone to my laptop to have a better connection, but yes, I am here. Hello.
That is good and fine. Bina is going to do a wholesome one next. Would you like to do your one after Bina's?
Yes.
About that. Yes. And then I have one that I would like to do after yours. Stack them up. Okay. Bina.
The illustrations on this are so cute. You can see them afterwards. Like, genuinely adorable. It's called The Engineer. Let it rain. Who cares? I've a train upstairs with a brake which I make from a string sort of thing, which works in jerks because it drops in the spring, which stops with the string, and the wheels all stick so quick that it feels like a thing that you make with a brake, not string. So that's what I make when the day's all wet. It's a good sort of brake, but it hasn't worked yet. And all of the Pooh Bear creatures lining up to buy tickets.
That's
so sweet.
Very cute. Now, yeah, I feel we are all sufficiently fortified with wholesomeness.
I'm so sorry.
Kitty's poem, which is amazing, but less adorable.
Yeah.
Content warning for it being a little bit on the mortal coil side. If you feel that you do not currently have psychic fortitude enough for a poem which is about things like considerations of mortality, go and make a cup of tea or mute us, and I will sort of wave largely when the poem is
Just the loudest wave possible afterwards. Yeah.
Or you can just clap like you normally do and we'll all know it's over.
But it is an incredible poem. So,
yeah.
Content warning given. Kitty?
Thank you. Yeah, this is One of my favourite poems, but it's depressing, so fair warning. You all seem to be still here. Cool. This is Ambulances by Philip Larkin. Closed like confessionals, they thread loud noons of cities, giving back none of the glances they absorb. Light glossy grey, arms on a plaque, they come to rest at any curb. All streets, in time, are visited. Then children strewn on steps or road, or women coming from the shops, past smells of different dinners, see a wild white face that overtops red stretcher blankets momently, as it is carried in and stowed, and sense the solving emptiness that lies just under all we do, and for a second get it whole, so permanent and blank and true. The fastened doors recede. Poor soul, they whisper at their own distress. For borne away in deadened air may go the sudden shut of loss round something nearly at an end. And what cohered in it across the years, the unique random blend of families and fashions there at last begin to loosen. Far from the exchange of love to lie unreachable inside a room. The traffic parts to let go by, brings closer what is left to come, and dulls to distance all we are. And, yeah. Sorry.
God damn, that's good. God damn, that's good. And God damn, you read beautifully.
Thank you.
Holy heckins.
Yeah, dang.
Right?
Oh my God, don't apologize.
Yeah, definitely don't apologize for that thing.
Yeah.
Just really like depressing poems.
That's okay. So do a lot of us, or at least me.
Mm-hmm. And I just, like, yeah, I just can't get over how beautifully you read that. Like,
Thank you.
Like, wow, dude.
I know that poem really, really well. I had it for reference, but I probably could have just done it without reading.
Swoon. Okay.
It's the one poem, like.
It's so good. Okay, right. So I have a poem that I would like to do next, which is kind of sort of thematically opposite to that. And that is all the explanation that I will give. So it's by Naomi Shihab Nye, who is fucking amazing, and you know I've banged on about her endlessly here. I won't need to do it again. But it's called Making a Fist. We forget that we are all dead men conversing with dead men. Georges Louis Borges. For the first time on the road north of Tampico, I felt the life sliding out of me. A drum in the desert, harder and harder to hear. I was 7. I lay in the car watching palm trees swirl a sickening pattern past the glass. My stomach was a melon split wide inside my skin. How do you know if you are going to die? I begged my mother. We had been traveling for days. With strange confidence, she answered, when you can no longer make a fist. Years later, I smiled to think of that journey, the borders we must cross separately, stamped with our own unanswerable woes. I, who did not die, who am still living, still lying in the back seat behind all my questions, clenching and opening one small hand.
Gosh.
Fuck yeah, right? Oh, God, I love her so much. Okay. So, next, Michael Cairney, would you be interested in doing yours at all?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the night mail. I thought whenever I think of transport, I always think of trains. Had that beautiful short film as well. But okay, Night Mail by W.H. Auden. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check in the postal order. Letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner, the girl next door. Pulling up Beatic, a steady climb, the gradient's against her, but she's on time. Past cotton grass and moorland border, shoveling white steam over her shoulder, snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Birds turn their head as she approaches, stare from bushes at her blank-faced coaches. Sheepdogs cannot turn her course, they slumber on with paws across. In the farm she passes, no one wakes, but a jug in a bedroom gently shakes. Dawn freshens, her climb is done. Down towards Glasgow she descends, towards the steam tugs yelping down a glade of cranes, towards the field of apparatus, the furnaces, set on the dark plain like gigantic chessmen. All Scotland waits for her in dark glens beside pale green lochs. Men long for news. Letters of thanks, letters from banks, letters of joy from girl and boy, receipted bills and invitations to inspect new stock or visit relations, and applications for situations, and timid lovers' declarations, and gossip from all the nations. News circumstantial, news financial, letters with holiday snaps to enlarge, and letters with faces scrawled in the margin, letters from uncles, cousins, and aunts, letters to Scotland from the south of France. Letters of condolence to highlands and lowlands, written on paper of every hue, the pink, the violet, the white, the blue, the chatty, catty, the boring, adoring, the cold and official, the hearts outpouring, clever, stupid, short and long, the typed and the printed, they all spelt wrong. Thousands are still asleep, dreaming of terrified monsters or of friendly tea beside the band in Cranston's or Crawford's. Asleep in working Glasgow, asleep in well-set Edinburgh, asleep in granite Aberdeen. They continue their dreams, but shall wake soon and hope for letters, and none will hear the postman's knock without a quickening of the heart, for who can bear to feel himself forgotten?
Damn.
So love it. It's a great quote. That I
so lovely.
So charming.
So charming, and again, fucking amazingly well read.
I was going to say, it's got such a really cool rhythm when you read that.
Yeah, like how did you not run out of breath for that? That was a very like demanding performance.
Very good puns. Very good. I did. If you notice that they rhyme poor with door early. I really kind of just smashed.
Fine. Like if Shakespeare can rhyme prove and love, then you know.
In my native accent, door and poor do rhyme.
Yeah.
That's true.
Alan and I were talking about rhymes the other day, and there was definitely something we just like. He was just like, "That doesn't rhyme at all." And I was like, "It's an exact rhyme." What? I can't remember what it was, but it was total. There's quite a lot, depending on accent, of things like that.
Nice. Katie, I believe you have a trains poem.
I do have a trains poem.
Would you like to do your trains poem?
It is called "The Everlasting Percy," or Mr. Macefield on the Railway Centenary. I used to be a fearful lad. The things I did were downright bad. And worst of all were what I done from 17 to 21 on all the railways far and wide, from sinfulness and shameful pride. For several years I was so wicked I used to go without a ticket, and travelled underneath the seat, down in the dust of people's feet. Or else I told them, bold as brass, I told them season in first class. In 1921 at Harwich, I smoked in a non-smoking carriage. I never knew what life or art meant. I wrote reserved on my compartment. And once I was a guilty man. I swapped the labels in the guard's van. From 1922 to 4, I leant against the carriage door without a looking at the latch. And once, a leaving Colney Hatch, I put a huge and heavy parcel, which I was taking to Newcastle, entirely filled with lumps of lead, upon the rack above my head. And when it tumbled down, oh Lord, I pulled communication cord. The guard came round and said, "You mule, what have you done, you dirty fool?" I simply sat and smiled and said, "Is this train right for Holyhead?" He said, "You blinking blasted swine, you'll have to pay the £5 fine." I gave a false name and address, puffed up with my vaingloriousness. At Bickershaw and Strood and Staines, I've often got on moving trains. And once, alit at Norwood West, before my coach had come to rest, a window and a lamp I broke. At Chipping Sodbury and Stoke, and worse I did at Wizendine. I threw out bottles on the line, and other articles as be likely to cause great injury to persons working on the line. That's what I did at Wizendine. I grew so careless what I do, throwing things out, and dangerous too, that last and worst of all I threw a great sultana bun out of the train at Pontypridd. It hit a plate layer, it did. I never thought that I should have to swing and never hear the sweet birds sing. The jury recommended mercy, and that's how grace was given to Percy. And now I have a motorbike, and up and down the road I hike, seeing the pretty birds and flowers and windmills with their sails and towers and all the wide sweep of the downs and villages and country towns, and hear the mowers mowing hay and smell the great sea far away. And always keeping, cars be blowed, well on the wrong side of the road, and never heeding hoots nor warners, especially around the corners, for even down the safest hill, redemption saves me from a spill. I have a flapper on my carrier, and someday I am going to marry her.
Very good.
That is very cute. Very, very cute.
Very bad man.
Very bad man. So I have another one that is about a more unusual form of transportation. So maybe I would like to do that, and then Bina, would you like to do another one? So this is by Sarojini Naidu, and it's called Palanquin Bearers. Lightly, oh lightly, we bear her along. She sways like a flower in the wind of our song. She skims like a bird on the foam of a stream. She floats like a laugh from the lips of a dream. Gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. Softly, oh softly, we bear her along. She hangs like a star in the dew of our song. She springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. She falls like a tear from the eyes of a bride. Lightly, oh lightly, we glide and we sing. We bear her along like a pearl on a string.
Oh, that's lovely.
I just think that is so
That's
nice.
so nice.
Bina, would you like to do one?
Yeah, I might continue with the unusual forms of transport and go with this one, which is sort of about a space capsule. It's an Edwin Morgan one called A Home in Space. Laid back in orbit, they found their minds. They found their minds were very clean and clear. Clear crystals in swarms outside were their fireflies and larks. Larks they were in liftoff, swallows in soaring. Soaring metal is flight and nest together. Together they must hatch. Hatches let the welders out. Out went the white suit riggers with frames as light as air. Air was millions under lock and key. Keans had computers wild on Saturday nights. Nights, days, months, years they lived in space. Space shone black in their eyes. Eyes, hands, food tubes, screens, lenses, keys were one. One night or day or month or year, they all gathered at the panel and agreed to cut communication with the Earth base. And it must be said they were cool and clear as they dismantled the station and gave their capsule such power that they launched themselves outwards in an impeccable trajectory, that band of tranquil defiers, not to plant any home with roots, but to keep a voyaging generation voyaging. And as far as there would ever be a home in space that needs time, and time that needs life.
I love that poem. I was thinking of that one for the one of like space. We were talking about space. Such a good poem.
There's so many good poems about space by Edwin Morgan, like just a ridiculous number. I think in the end I missed the space poetry day, but maybe I'll like crowbar some into some other themes as we go along.
I was thinking that probably at some point, maybe in a few weeks' time, we will have a poetry free-for-all, which will be themeless / anything that people have thought of for previous themes and haven't managed to get in for those themes, and it will be a sort of bring your own bottle kind of scenario, and everyone will have a mass poetic descending, and it will be amazing.
So I love that, but also like it's hard enough narrowing it down when there are themes, Frankie.
That's true. Okay, well we'll maybe sort of we'll maybe revisit a few themes at some point. But okay, so
can I go next before I get my hands all over bread dough?
Of course, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Katie, do you want to go next, and then would you like to go after Katie? And then Bina, if by that point you have managed to find somebody who would read the poem that you wanted reading in a Scottish accent, then maybe they could go after M.
I'd be happy to read it.
Yay! Yay, Valerie! Woo! Okay, cool. So, Katie, M, Valerie. Let's do this.
So this one is by Maurice Bishop, and it's called The Roadside Literature. There is a little old fellow, and he has a little paint pot, and a paucity of brushes is something that he ain't got. And when he sees a road sign, the road sign he betters, and expresses of himself by eliminating letters. Thus, through road becomes rough road, and curves dangerous is transformed to curves anger us. And 24-hour service turns into 24-hour vice. Men at work in entrance is reduced to men at work in trance. And slow down bridge one way is triumphantly condensed to low down bride on way. But the old fellow feels a slight dissatisfaction with the uninspiring process of pure subtraction. The evidence would indicate he's taken as his mission the improvement of the road signs by the process of addition. Thus, traffic light ahead becomes traffic slight ahead. And gas and oil is improved to gasp and boil, and simple restrooms appear as queerest rooms, and underpass one way emerges as underpass gone away. And perhaps his masterpiece, right eastbound tunnel, is elaborated to frightened beasts abound in tunnel. Thus we see the critical mood becomes the creative attitude. I have another very short one by Ogden Nash called Song of the Open Road.
Let's go for it.
I think that I shall never see a billboard lovely as a tree. Perhaps, unless the billboards fall, I'll never see a tree at all.
Nice. Nice.
We'll now get my hands all over Roberto.
Yay! Thank you, Katie.
Thank you for being obliging.
Oh, anytime. So, I believe you have one. Would you be cool to do that?
Yes. Okay. I'm just making sure. Okay, good. Everything's reconnected all right. I know that the audio on my computer often lags, so I figured I'd go on my phone. This is a little bit of a loose interpretation of the theme. It's called Stop Signs by Shane Koyczan, who was the poet who read my birthday poem that Frankie read a while ago. This is a long one. It's all stop signs. It's all lines that shouldn't be crossed. It's all interpretations that have been lost in translation, even when the meaning is embossed on something that redefines stop signs, something that erases and redraws lines for all the times curiosity gets the better of us. But until it gets the best, we test the lines. Until it gets the best, it's all stop signs. Now that you are, changes we love, while you are gone, I'll be waiting. And then there's you. And I want to kiss you so bad that I'd be willing to cut off my own head and just throw it towards your lips. You'd be well within your rights to just swat it to the floor. But I'd redefine hardcore, lying there at the tips of your toes, because God knows I'd be trying to figure out some way to roll towards them. And maybe that's crossing the line. Maybe that's a little creepy. Did I mention I like you? If I knew you better than I do, that I would know creepy's not the way to go. So how's this? I want to kiss you like a traffic jam. I want to move so slow. I want to stop and go like I know at least I'm moving towards you. And there's no use weaving through the gridlock because every clock keeps politicking and talking to tell me this time, for all the amazing in between that's seen and heard, and each word that's passed between us, like someone with somewhere to go. And I know I hardly know you, so let's go slow, like a turtle with a purpose. Let's not miss a single minute, because every 60 seconds that contained within it are 200 times I've tried to coax each smile to bloom into a laugh. And the exact science of math can't begin to calculate half the time it would take to make the misery turn itself into a punchline. One that was willing to mine past silver and gold, just looking for something to tell you, something that's never been told. I want to hold you like mine are the last arms in the world. I want them curled around you like the red and white stripes on a barber pole. And when I give you a lump of coal for Christmas and tell you that in a million years, it's going to be a diamond. And will you wait for me until then? Because that's when I'll be evolved enough to melt all the other brains of men on earth. And maybe I've got a shot. If all that remains is 2 gazelles on a Serengeti plains and me. Of course, if you're willing to make sweet, sweet love with animals, I totally understand. I'm good like that. I'll band together with whatever vegetation is left living. Me, 3 weeds and a rubber plant will spend Thanksgiving saying how grateful we are that you're happy. Now, all that you do helps me get through love. If you're unsure, I'll show you. I want you to feel like the banana peel under Charlie Chaplin's shoe, because it's you that brings the house of this heart down. It's you that's the chamber of commerce in a town that's got nothing to offer, but everything everyone can't find everywhere else under the sun. I'm done with all of the every that, done thinking of where it is I'm going and figuring out where it is I'm at. And that has got to be beside the one who stopped me from trying to calculate the sum of totals of someone, as if this biological calculus has ever done anything for me, other than the something that keeps me seeking to self-providence that doesn't exist, like a SWAT team sharpshooters with cataracts. I've missed the point more times than certain Americans have been elected to the Oval Office. which is always one too often. And let's face it, sometimes too many. But this time, I'm willing to pay interest on a penny for your thoughts, mortgage my mind, finance an expedition that will find me a better way to get to know you. Because I've read through the short story of my life and found that your name stands out on the page. Your slightest look unlocks the tumblers on my rib cage, and you can gauge my sincerity. I lift my heart towards you and tell you in a million years, it'll be less than dust. The slightest gust will blow it away. But you'll have to listen to wind chimes, say, that you are still worth waiting for. Don't tell me you're not beautiful. You're the kind of beautiful the blind would see if we could figure out some way to give them 3 seconds of sight. When you tell me you're not gorgeous, I want to pop out your left eye and show it to your right. Now, all that you do helps me get through love. If you're unsure, I will show you. All that you are changes me, love. While you are gone, I'll be waiting. You're worth crossing whatever distance it would take. Worth building bridges to make a connection. Because I've been secretly stealing stop signs, repainting traffic lines so I can only go one way. Because as far as I can tell, dedication is the better part of foreplay. And I admit it, I'm committed. Everything I've done, I've did it to make you smile because it's the largest part, some long while, since I've had someone do that for me. You feel like comedy after 3 years of being on the bandwagon of calamity. And I can't be bothered with a tragedy without trying to get to know you. I've been through enough wretchedness to know that some flowers can still grow through the garbage. And you make me want to take up gardening. Seeing sadness drain the spirit out of this history, as if the worst is yet to come. Those that took the time to know me know I don't run. Partially because I'm not athletic, but mostly because that's life, and I've met it head on. I've gone the distance more times than George Lucas looked at Jar Jar Binks and thought, fuck! And until I fit the bill, I will still fill my days trying, because I'm yours, from the bottom to the top. And I'm not just saying I'll be here for you. I'm saying I'll never stop.
It's beautiful.
My God. Thanks, Em. That was fucking...
Thank you guys for listening to, I know that's like a fucking long one to sit through.
Oh no, a large quantity of excellent poetry.
It's not, it's, why do you even bother? Like, it's not like we all came here to listen to poetry or anything.
Not like we were not sat here wrapped, like devastated the entire time.
What do you think this is? Some sort of audience of highly appreciative poetry fans?
Okay, fair. I won't hesitate before bringing another 7-minute, like, beautiful Shane Poison rant to you.
More.
Next time we do love poems or like unique love poems, I'm like, I've already picked one, and I'm like,
I'm so excited.
Just waiting. Or animals would work for that if we had to do that one again.
Okay. Valerie, would you still be up for reading one of Bina's?
Yes, thank you, Bina, for the poem. Okay, so this is called Embra Buses by Stephanie Green. I like to sit at the front of the bus and keek through the hole at the driver's heat. As he pulls on the wheel and gives the odd cuss, he doesn't ken I'm there. You can see the whole world through the top of the bus. Turbans and burkas, saris with cardis, kilts with Doc Martens, spiky-haired goths, hoodies and neds and Burberry caps, Morningside ladies in sensible hats. Traffic wardens, grey as sharks with fluorescent stripes, Sharko ready to strike. The blind man's dog sits obedient at the curb, his flesh flabby. I'd gie him a good run. We stop-start, shuggled about in our seats by traffic cones, roadworks, jaywalkers and drunks. Crash go the branches as we lean into a corner. Hold tight, ting ting, we fall down the stairs. That's it.
That was fab.
Very cool.
Thank you for reading it.
Very, very cool. Well, so I have a one that I think is vaguely thematically appropriate in terms of like all different sorts of people thematic through line, but it's such a lovely one that I thought it might be nice to do as a final poem. So does anybody else have any more poems that they would like to insert into this moment before I crack out this poem that I love, that I think you will love as well?
Do you want a tiny Carol Ann Duffy one?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Go Bina. Go
Yes,
Bina.
please.
Which is also about model transportation rather than actual transportation. It's called Ship. In the end, it was nothing more than the toy boat of a boy on the local park's lake where I walked with you. But I knelt down to watch it arrive, its white sail shy with amber light, the late sun bronzing the wave that lifted it up. My ship coming in with its cargo of joy.
Oh, yes.
That's from the Rapture collection, which is sort of one long love poem, really.
It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. Thank you, Bina. Okay, I think I might do mine next if nobody has any objections. I seem to have like nothing but poems about planes and airports. I had, like, when I was kind of making my list of potential poems for tonight, I had approximately 5,000 potential poems featuring planes and or airports. But this is probably my favorite one. So I'm gonna go with this one. And Kitty knows this one because I have sent this one to them in the past. But I love it. And this is another one by Naomi Shihab-Nye. It's called Gate A4. Don't think I've read it before. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal after learning my flight had been delayed 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight agent. "Talk to her. What is her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late and she did this." I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. "Shudawa shubiduk habibti. Stan shway min fadlik shubitsewe." The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been cancelled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine, you'll get there, just later. Who is picking you up? Let's call him." We called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, that they had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let her chat with them? This all took up 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoul cookies, little powdered sugar crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts, from her bag, and was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, Not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveller from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo. We were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There is no better cookie. Then the airline broke out free apple juice from 2 huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant, always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in. The shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying of confusion stopped, seemed apprehensive about any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost.
That was lovely.
I once went to A&E in Tooting, and I was there for 4 hours. I read an entire book, and I brought some cookies because I was expecting to be there for hours, and I'd gone after work. And I offered everyone in A&E cookies, and none of them said yes. And the parents wouldn't let their children say yes. And I felt awful.
Oh, sweetie.
So that poem was very heartening.
Oh, Kitty.
Oh, Kitty.
I cry every time you do that.
I was like, got towards the end and I was like, don't cry.
Like, they're all covered in sugar.
And then they were all eating cookies and
it's a matter of pie.
And there was free apple juice and
I want free apple juice.
I want a cookie.
It's the powdered sugar.
It was the powdered sugar. Yeah.
I have that in a collection, which I bought on Frankie's recommendation, obviously. But so I knew what was coming and was still like.
Oh, I feel like about this group, at the risk of like being even more maudlin and emotional, like I feel like we're all stuck in some weird terminal where all of our flights are delayed and we're all just sharing cookies and apple juice. Oh God.
But cookies are poems and stories.
Do you know any poets we could call? You know, maybe like Michael or, you know, Frankie.
I'm like actually on a Zoom call right now with most of the poets I know.
Maybe we should call your dad.
Maybe we should call my dad. I can't imagine anyone who would be more baffled and unimpressed. Oh dear.
Well, let's call Andrada instead. She'll come help.
Andrada. Right. I think I'll maybe stop the recording. Should we say goodbye to the catch-up crew?
Bye, catch-up crew.
Bye, catch-up crew.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.